you had hit the xE1 before. Tell me about your experience today hitting some different shots from different lies with the xE1. Did it live up to your expectations, or did it exceed them?
Well, when I first got a hold of this wedge, the xE1 wedge with the autoglide technology and the sole, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I thought it was, well, it's just another wedge on the market that says one thing, but when you really put it into play, it might not do exactly what you want it to do. And I was completely blown away through all the testing that we've done today, through all the shots that I've hit from different lies, from 40 yards, from 50 yards, over bunkers, tight lies, in the rough, buried lies in the bunker, long bunker shots, short bunker shots. I mean, we did it all. We did it all out of a divot. I mean, it was incredible what this thing could do, and I was amazed at the consistency at which this sole performed going through a multitude of different turf conditions, and how consistently that sole performed in all those different conditions as far as how it went through the turf. It went through clean every time. It was amazing.
Arron, tell me a little bit about, you had a chance to work with 318 handicappers randomly.
Yeah.
Tell me what you saw with them and how that kind of validates the xE1's technology, autoglide technology, and performance from any line.
Well, when I had a chance to work with 318 handicappers today, I really, first of all, it's always interesting to see what their take is on it, because anybody could play this wedge from a scratch handicap all the way down, but it's really made for the player who really struggles around the greens, who really struggles out of bunkers, who really struggles off those tight lies when you have to get them up quick over bunkers or over ponds from that 20 to 40 yard distance. I was amazed at what I saw, especially with our last gentleman who did it with his wedge. Alan, he never hit the green. Out of 3 shots with his wedge on the flop shot of the bunker, he puts the xE1 in play, and he hits all 3 inside of 10 feet. And the first time he ever touched the wedge, I was blown away, and I think he was blown away too. And I think it speaks to how well this wedge is made, and how the technology has really come along, and the technology in this sole. It's really impressive what they've done with it.
You were talking about, and the wedge was designed for a player that struggles with the short game. Tell us why does it work? What does that autoglide sole do? What technically does it do compared to a traditional wedge? How does it compare, and why does it work so much better?
Well, the xE1 wedge, it works better compared to a traditional wedge due to the fact that in traditional wedges, first of all, not a lot of people play enough bounce in their traditional wedges. That's number one. But even if they do play enough bounce, they don't know how to use that bounce properly. With the xE1 wedge, they don't have to learn how to use the bounce. The bounce is actually, if this makes sense, it's used for them just in their golf swing based on how wide the sole is, based on the configuration, the rolled sole. You have enough play on it to where it's gonna make the ball move out of the bunkers. It's gonna make the ball come out of the rough. It's gonna glide through the tight lies and through wet lies very well. But at the same time, it's not going to dig. It's not going to create any fat shots. In fact, we tried to hit fat shots with it. I tried to hit fat shots with it, and it was just impossible. Every time I tried to hit a fat shot, the wedge would absolutely do exactly what it's supposed to do: glide through the turf and pop the ball up in the air, and the ball would end up stopping somewhere within 10 feet of the hole. It was amazing.
You were talking about how great it was for amateurs and how it's been designed for amateurs, but what was your experience as a tour professional, as a PGA Tour winner? Were you shocked at what you could do with the ball and the precision that the xE1 has for the better player?
Well, for the xE1 for the better player, for the xE1 wedge for the better player, I found that it's made simpler for everybody, which means with a 65-degree wedge, most people play no more than 60 degrees, but with a 65-degree wedge, you don't have to open the face. You can stand square to the ball. And we saw that with the amateurs we worked with today. They were trying to play certain shots with their wedges, and it wasn't coming off very successfully. And then I told them, hey, just take your normal stance and make a normal golf swing and take a little sand or hit the ball like you normally would, and it came out perfect. For the better player, they wouldn't have to get so fancy with the shots as well. I stand dead square to this ball, to the ball, in the bunkers, around the greens, to everything. I don't have to open it up. I don't have to open the blade up. I don't have to open my feet up. I just set it down and hit the shot. Sometimes I swing a little harder. Sometimes I swing a little softer, depending on what I need to do with the shot. But for the most part, it's pretty much a fix-all thing. You don't have to do anything fancy with your stance anymore. You just set up to it and go.
It's amazing. You got anything else? I got one more. Last question, Arron. If you're speaking to a golfer out there on his couch at his desk, looking at it on his laptop or something. What do you say to a guy who's thinking, gee, why would I want to get this wedge? And say it right here. Why would a golfer, a higher handicap golfer, want the xE1 wedge?
Statistically speaking, the average golfer spends the most shots from 100 yards and in, from 50 yards and in. Most of the time, they don't have a problem getting off the tee. They can get up around the greens. It's where they spend the most shots around the greens. Amateur golfers mainly turn a potential par or a potential 5 or a bogey into a double bogey or higher because they spend so many shots around the greens. Most of the time, it's because they blade their chip shot, or they fat their chip shot or bunker shot. With this xE1 wedge, all that stuff goes away. All that stuff goes away. You're not going to blade it, because the reason you're not going to blade it is because now you're going to have the confidence to go ahead and get down after the into the turf, because you know that with the flange, with this huge flange right here, you're not going to hit it fat anymore. It's going to work right through the turf, and you're going to be able to attack the turf, attack the ball, and the ball's going to come out clean just about every time.
Great. That xE1 wedge, there's no reason for any handicap golfer that's not.
There is absolutely no reason for any handicapped golfer, from a 0 handicap, 5 handicap, all the way up to a 30 handicap golfer or higher. There's no reason why you shouldn't put one of these in your bag and give it a try. I guarantee you that it will lower strokes off your short game.